Clutter, just the word kind of stresses people out. But clutter just isn't about the things in our homes. It's really a reflection of the clutter that we have in our heads, in our minds, sometimes even in our hearts. The clutter in our home is often just a physical manifestation of the clutter that we hold in. How'd you like that?
I love that. We've done a couple videos on decluttering, and they're very popular. And we constantly are going through the decluttering process. But we find ourselves, even you and I, Jody, do this, about misconceptions about it, about negative feelings we have towards it, the things that hold us back. And the more we hold ourselves back from decluttering and holding on to these perceptions as lies, it really prevents us from doing what we need to do to clear our home and our minds.
Right. Well, we really start to tell each other lies about why we need to keep something, right? Or why we can't let something go. If we don't confront and dismantle these myths or lies, we risk living in physical disarray, but also you can miss peace, clarity, and kind of freedom of the mind.
So what we want you to do today is listen to the video and take a step towards a more decluttered, peaceful home and mindset. Listen to these lies that maybe you've told yourself as well. Confront
lies is
them.
Pretty dramatic.
Well, that's
these
what
are
they
lies.
are. They are. I mean, false truths. I don't know.
Okay, lies are good. Yeah.
False truths. Let's go with that.
Okay.
These false truths, I can't even say it. That's why I say lies. Confront them. Make a change. I know that you will be happier, and your future self will be happier.
In retirement, our homes should be sanctuaries of peace and joy, not warehouses of what ifs and just in case. Decluttering is not just about making the space in our home, but making the space in our lives for new experiences, new relationships, and growth.
So let's talk about an easy thing, like our closets. We have these lies about these clothes that are in there that we just say, we can't get rid of that. I might use it one day. These suits, I've sold so much insurance in these suits, and I've had such good memories. I need to hold on to them. But when I put them on, I look awful because they're 15 years old.
No.
I don't have them anymore, but
I think it happens to all of us. Dresses, for me, pants, skirts, business suits, shirts, jeans, jeans that I'm like, I'm going to fit it back into those jeans, or I hope I never fit back into those jeans, but just in case, and even things, like dishes or things that the kids maybe someday in my mind, I'm telling me a lie that they might want.
Yeah. So I think you're going to find this really interesting and helpful. And if you're new here today, I'm Mark, and this is my wife, Jody.
And we don't focus on the financial aspects of retirement, but rather your lifestyle, your health, relationships, and more.
So if you enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button. But more importantly for us, if you could share this video with someone that's on the same journey as you, that you care about, that would really be helpful to us to continue to let us to grow our channel and get our word out to many more people.
I was pretty fortunate. I didn't grow up in a very cluttered, overpacked, tchotchke house.
Okay.
And when my mom passed away, my pop is still there, but we didn't have a whole lot to declutter from, her, years on the earth. She was really good, and I think taught me to be better at, decluttering as you go. Your parents were a bit of a different story.
Well, my parents, after they passed, left us a 4,000 square foot house, 3-bedroom house, filled with stuff and things that they accumulated over 50 years of marriage, maybe longer. And they left it up to us to decide what to do with it. They never, ever decluttered. My mom had sweaters and outfits and dresses and a sterling silver tea set from her great-grandmother. I mean,
it's wonderful.
It's wonderful,
right.
But no, we don't use that. They didn't use it. They just had it on the counter. But then you're faced with how do we get rid of this?
Right.
So that's why they never decluttered. But we ended up filling 1.5 40-yard containers, unfortunately, of what ended up being trash.
Well,
now, we sold a lot.
I was going to say we gave away a lot. We donated a lot. We did. And I think the challenge at your parents' house wasn't just the amount of stuff, but they literally had it everywhere, under every bed, in every closet, under every sink. I mean, it was just kind of in the garage. I mean, it was just kind of filling at the brims. But that's not an unusual story. I mean, that happens to a lot of people. And during this phase of life, you might start to tell yourself even more lies about how you're connected to some of this stuff.
My mom collected pigs.
Lots of pigs.
Anything that was a pig, cutting boards, stuff on the refrigerator, magnets, spoons.
Ceramics.
And then what do you do with all of these? Well, you take them to Goodwill. And listen, some people have those in their home now, and they love them, which is great. We gave away hundreds of books that she had. So gave that to the vets, which was good.
Yeah.
But it's still a hard process. And what we want to talk about today are these lies that we tell ourselves to prevent ourselves from decluttering.
Right.
And there's a link below to our downsizing guide. It's a free download that you might want to look at about how to downsize your house, which is obviously a bigger project. But today, we're going to talk about the 40 lies that we tell ourselves. And we want you to stay to the end because we're going to share with you what our 5-step process is to begin a decluttering project, which we probably do once a month. We take another room on or something.
Absolutely. So buckle up because we want you to listen for these, for any of the ones that really resonate for you. Write it down and then address that lie or misconception, when you're done. See if you can really take a different lens to the closet, the drawer, or the garage. All right, so let's start. Number 1. Usefulness as a misconception. Items that you keep just in case but rarely get used. It's really important to look at each item and track how often do you actually use it. I could probably do that with our vases. I have a lot of vases.
You think?
And I keep at Christmas I use that one and this one's taller. A lot of those are just in case items. But take a minute and think about the space this item takes up and the cost it might, cause you to store it. And what can you do to really combat this lie of usefulness?
Well, if you open, the cabinets, like the lower cabinets in the kitchen as an example, if you open the lower ones, the lowest shelf where you don't really want to go to, most of the stuff on those shelves are things we don't need.
True.
We just challenge, although we might need that for Thanksgiving. We might need that when we have company. We might need that special, it's actually pretty funny, where we used to have a chopper. We didn't use it for years.
Right.
We got rid of it.
Right.
Recently started cooking more.
Needed it.
And the recipes that I'm using now, I'm getting more into using a lot of spices. I had to buy one, for $29, but we did a good job of getting rid of it the first time, but you could hold on to that thinking, oh, maybe I'll use it one day. The 1 year rule is what I like. I use that for my clothes. I like to use that for utensils, for anything. If you haven't used it in a year, chances are you're not going to need it.
That's a real good test to this usefulness quote. But the tip I like is, created a use it or lose it box for items that you're questioning, right? So stick it in the garage and say, even if they're clothes or, or appliances, whatever it might be, stick it. And if you go to it, you use it.
Did you just think of that?
I did.
I love that.
And then if you stick it, and then if you haven't touched it in a good while, a month, 2 months, 6 months, maybe your year test can go on top of that. If you don't reach for it, then get rid of it. It's kind of past its
I can't believe we just
test.
thought of that, because at the end when we go over our 5 tips, as we were thinking about them, I always say, do we really want to get rid of it? And sometimes they say no.
Right.
I love the idea of putting it in a box in the garage, and then once a year, empty the box.
Empty the box.
That's a great idea.
And that's a great way because it's already ready for donation too.
Well, here's another lie that I use all the time. I will reorganize, I will declutter, but I like to use all of the cool, fancy stuff you can get online or at, what's that store?
The container
store. I need fancy containers. That's BS. You don't need that.
No.
You don't need the fancy stuff. Effective decluttering really is about reducing, not just organizing.
Right.
So once you reduce everything, then organizing's easy. But it's hard to organize when you have too much stuff in your drawer in your closet. So I think it's really the function over the form. Use simple, inexpensive organizers that work, not just the fancy ones that you buy in a store.
Well, even like I said, just a box. I mean, we all get boxes to our front doors these days, right? With the advent of online shopping and other things. Just grab one of those boxes. Use boxes and bins you already have to help you organize and to sort through your clutter. You don't need to go fancy. I know you're a big fan of the Container Store, and your socks are all like rolled up in a little situation. Your undies are all rolled up in a little situation.
All right, socks, undies, what else?
The drawers in our desks are all, pencils here,
nice and organized because I declutter on a regular basis. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So, but I'm obsessed now with this idea. I've got all these cardboard boxes in the garage ready to break down and go to recycling. I'm taking them out. We're going to have 5 boxes.
Just a couple.
5 of them. Okay. Clothes, whatever. I just love that idea.
Awesome.
We can end the video now.
There you go.
All right.
The third lie or myth we tell ourselves is this idea around legacy clutter, right? You believe that our possessions will be wanted by future generations. That your cherished items may not hold the same value that they do for your kids. I know my mom, she collected teacups and beautiful china teacups, none of them matched. And it was a thing that I then kept. And then each year I would send my daughters a teacup and saucer. And the first one they loved, it reminded them of their grandmother. And then the second one they were like, well, okay, if I ever have a friend over for tea and we want to drink out of china, sure. By the time I sent them each the third one, they gave me enough's enough.
Yeah, we have your mom's teacup that she used when she came to our house.
Right.
You put it there. That's all we need.
One.
And we don't even, you might use this sometimes.
Not really.
But yeah.
Teacups don't hold enough coffee for me.
But the other thing about your mom is what she started to do as she decluttered her house. She would come to visit and she'd bring 3 framed posters that she's had since she was 40. I mean, they were sweet and everything, but we don't want them.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, no, what am I going to do? Our kids don't want them. But this idea that the next generation wants this stuff, if you can ask your kids, if you have children, is there anything in our house that you really want after I'm gone? And have them put a little sticker on the back. I think that would be helpful.
Well, I think what I was running into, and it fits in this category, was I was placing an emotional burden on the girls to keep taking,
right.
And they all live in tiny space, and they're growing their careers and figuring out living situations. And here I'm sending china cups,
right.
And that was an emotional burden. I moved from my mom to me to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think that's fair.
The other lie we tell ourselves is that we have enough space to store all this stuff, so that we do. And that's not a good reason to keep it just because you have the space. I'm just looking at that closet up there right now. You can't see it. But it's full of stuff we don't need.
Well, it's wrapping paper for Christmas.
Nah, it's half-used wrapping papers where you take the scissor and you... No. No. So this idea that you think you have enough space so you'll keep it, you got to regularly evaluate the space, what the limitations are, and keep only up there what... I'm obsessed with this now. Only put up there what you really need.
What's interesting is I just ran across a company, and I haven't done enough research on it to actually put a link below, but I have shoe boxes full of cards. Cards you sent to me, cards the kids sent to me, certainly cards my mom sent to me over the years. And I have them, and I know where they are, but I probably have 6 or 7 boxes of them. Ran across this company, and they'll scan your cards for you.
Really?
And they'll scan the front and the back and the inside, and each page is a copy of the card with the handwriting and everything. And so it kind of goes to this space illusion thing, right? I keep thinking, well, before I pass, if I have 10 more boxes, but then what are you going to do with all my cards over the years? Right.
So
there's ways to streamline space savers.
We could do a whole video on this idea of cards, because Hallmark certainly makes a killing every holiday. It's your birthday tomorrow.
It is my birthday.
And I have 12 cards.
12. You do not have 12.
So once you get the cards, it's just bizarre.
At $3 a card or whatever they are.
Yeah, some are more because you like the fancy ones. It's a good question. There's 3 on my bedside table that you gave me for my birthday last week.
But again, back to the topic of space illusion, right? There are there are technology solutions
Yep.
that can help with decluttering. So it's not just about buying your fancy containers.
I know.
It's about searching for some electronic ways to
Well,
actually help.
we went down a rabbit hole with the cards, but it has me thinking a little bit about that. I don't know. I mean, I hate to throw away the cards you give me. They're thoughtful, they're kind. But if we scan it, the kids don't want them.
Well,
Particularly when you get a little Rossi in there.
It could tell a love
right?
story legacy that we have. Anyway, you're digressing.
I'm digressing.
All right. The fifth thing, we got to get moving because we have a lot to get through. An all or nothing fallacy. Do not believe that decluttering must be a grand or single event. Decluttering can be overwhelming. So look at small victories. Celebrate your progress along the lines, no matter how small it is, and take an incremental approach by tackling one area or one category at a time, like clothing, like tackle it, but just one at a time.
Yeah, and I think we hit on this on some of the other ones too, but if you want to try decluttering and keep it simple, just do one drawer.
Yeah.
One drawer. I just did my bedside drawer last week. I'd done it 6 months ago, and that's where all my stuff goes. And I just decluttered it, and it just feels good to open that and see it pretty much empty except for those things that I really need. So starting with a single drawer or a shelf in your closet or a section of your closet, just do that. Take a half an hour, and do it, and put it in a box in the garage until you need it. Now, we also have this lie that we don't declutter because there's a right way to do it. And there is no right way to do it.
Right.
But there's a process you need to go through, and we're going to tell you at the end what our process is that makes it simple. Make it work for you. Experiment, try a couple different things. Be kind to yourself through the process. You're going to make mistakes. You may get rid of something that you really 2 years from now wish you had, but that's okay. It's
as long as it's not a family heirloom. I think that's where people really start to struggle is, I haven't touched it, I don't need it, but it means so much to the family. So,
well, I think we expand what we think is important to the
I
family.
agree.
There are some core things, and again, we have children. We have 6 of them. We're going to start going through this process. Is there stuff in the house that you really want? Let us know ahead of time.
Right. All right. The next misconception is time. Right? Effective decluttering can be done in short, focused bursts. You don't have to carve out a whole month to declutter your house. I mean, just pick a day.
Or a whole Saturday.
It
seems overwhelming when you think of it that way.
But if you do some time sessions, like, all right, I'm gonna go through my clothes for an hour today. I might go through my clothes for an hour again tomorrow. But time it. Make it part of your daily habits. Tackle the areas that make the biggest impact first, so visually you can feel it.
In the garage, I have these rolling. I have two rolling 4-rack shelf things. So instead of just thinking I got to go in the garage and organize all that, I'm going to do just one shelf at a time. Take me 15 minutes. Organize it, put it in good shape. That's the way to do it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you always do the same shelf?
Yeah.
No, you do?
Well, yeah, I do it once a month, and the other shelves are a mess now because I've moved everything.
Oh, I just feel like you keep doing the one.
Just be quiet. All right. The other lie we tell ourselves, we're waiting for motivation. Like Jody just said, start small and build momentum. Do one shelf in the garage, one area, one 6-foot area, and be done with it and feel good about it. And every time you walk by it, I'm telling you, you're going to look at that and go, well, I want the rest of the garage to look like that. So somehow you just need to schedule it, schedule the time, carve it out, and do it. Put some music on if you like music. But I think, and if you do it together, just agree we're going to do this for an hour and that's it.
Sometimes we'll actually put a little incentive at the end. Like, okay, this morning we're going to spend the day decluttering and then we're going to go to the beach for a couple hours. Or, treat yourself to something when you hit your milestones. Don't make it so overwhelming.
Right. Okay.
All right, the next thing is this misconception we tell ourselves that a messy house is just fine. I'm just going to adjust to the clutter instead of addressing it. I'm getting comfortable with stepping over and around things. It's all going to be fine. Nobody cares. You don't understand how that affects you internally.
Mentally.
Mentally. The visual messiness really does start to affect every human. Ensure that your space reflects your current lifestyle and values. Not what you used to be or used to do or used to read. I'd go into people's houses and they have piles of books, or the kitchen counters are piled up with mail from like 2 weeks. I mean, visually, that takes a hit on you and everybody else. So start with visible areas to immediately enhance your living space and see how it feels internally.
And I would just say, be careful with the process about decluttering your open living space. The stuff that's there, well, again, we're doing this at the end, but go through a little checklist in your head. Well, it's messy in here, so let's put it inside that cabinet. Then you've just created another problem for you when you have to clear out that cabinet.
Well, you can't hide clutter.
You can't hide
the idea
clutter.
is to get rid of it.
If it's out in the open
decisions.
now, you got to decide. If you need to keep it, put it somewhere. But again, put it in a box in the garage, and a year from now, check it out.
Yeah.
That's my new thing. I'm obsessed with that.
Good.
Okay. The other reason that people don't declutter is they have this thing in their head that the item that's there that we don't use anymore, that we want to get rid of, is worth a lot of money, so I can't give it. I can't donate it. I should hold on to it, and maybe one day it'll go up in value. And it doesn't.
Well,
I mean,
you can't say it doesn't.
Okay,
it
well,
might.
like
it just
what?
depends. Like, I don't know, a little piece of art you picked up when you were at an art show that maybe it doesn't fit in your local current house, but...
And you paid $10 for it.
No,
and you're hoping it's worth $100 one day.
Maybe.
It's not going to happen.
Well...
But that's what we do. We attach a value to an item thinking it's going to go up in value, so we better hold on to it.
Right.
And I think that that's just a bad lie to tell yourself. Just practice detaching yourself from the self-worth of these possessions. Even if it's a gift, somebody gives it to you, I think you really have to be careful. And if selling it's a stumbling block, then donate it.
That's true.
But again, the whole idea here is to declutter, not to give ourselves a lie. Well, that painting might go up in value.
I know. I guess.
You just did that.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I guess I'm not that good at that piece of it because if I see worth or value in something, maybe I'm not thinking of the future dollar amount, but I sometimes talk myself into keeping it.
I guess
that guilt is something that I have.
Okay.
So the next one, is financial guilt. Feeling that decluttering is akin to just wasting money. That the thing that you have to remember, the money spent is already gone.
The $10
for my painting.
For the painting, you spent the $10.
Right.
Okay. Getting rid of it,
I know,
is not going to bring back the $10.
Well, I know, but the point is holding on to it isn't going to bring back
what
the $10.
What did I say?
You said getting rid of
it.
Yeah,
if you get rid of it, the $10 is already gone.
I know.
So you have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not, holding on to it doesn't bring the money back.
Right. And sometimes the space is more valuable than the unused items, right? Why are you looking at me so evilly?
Worst declutter on the planet.
I am not.
You have 10 shoe boxes of cards.
I do have that.
10.
I don't know. I mean, when the kids were little and their handwriting was so cute, I know, I got to do something.
Save
about
one card each from the kids. That's it.
I know.
Well, I think that you have to embrace the joy of donating, giving things away to whatever the, churches in the springtime always have these, not all
tag
of them,
sales.
Tag sales.
Yeah.
Just give them the stuff. Someone else would benefit from hanging that $10 painting in their house, and they only paid $1 for it.
Right.
So,
That's true.
So you feel good about that.
Right.
All right. Here, I love this one.
Yeah, this one kind of is the epitome of me, though.
Yeah, I do it a little bit.
The someday outfit.
Keeping clothes for a future that never comes. Whether it's a suit or a shirt or a pair of shoes, I have 3 pairs of shoes, 4 pairs of shoes. That's it. How many do you have? Okay. For that wedding, that party, you're going to wear that one pair of flats that just matches that dress that you already gave away.
Yeah.
Am I ranking on you a little too hard?
Kinda.
Well, this someday outfit lie is bad. That's an excuse for you to hold on to stuff that you really don't need. Think about your wardrobe space in your house. That's prime real estate.
Right.
You go in there every day. You don't want to go in there and weave through stuff that you haven't worn in 2 years.
Yeah, and styles do change, and so do our tastes and certainly our bodies. But style changes, you have to remember, a lot of styles come back.
Well,
so if you have those bell-bottom jeans
the next lie
from the 80s.
The next lie is interesting because it's a long close, but the clothing issue, but weight fluctuation excuse. Whether you're going to lose weight, and that'll fit one day, or you're going to gain weight, so you need that just in case. I think that, particularly larger sizes, I think it allows people the excuse to let their weight go up. I could be wrong, but you can't have a whole closet full of clothes for me weighing 150, 160, and 170. The shirts I can get away with, but the pants, no.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I can't wear it around my waist.
I have a friend who has a 3-bedroom house. It's just her and her husband that live in that now. And her current bedroom in her closet is her current size. Her daughter's bedroom was her next lower size. She took over the closet and put her clothes there. And her son's bedroom is her next higher size. So she has
whole wardrobe?
A whole.
That's a lot.
I know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I get it because, for example, for me, I probably have 4 pairs of white jeans that are probably 3 different sizes. I don't know, white jeans, sometimes you want them a little bigger, a little smaller, I don't know.
And again.
But, I get it. It doesn't make sense. And I think the real thing that hits home for me is someone else could be wearing those clothes as a donation.
Well, that's a good point. Right. And the thing I want to emphasize, too, is you don't have to believe all these lies. I mean, if you feel comfortable keeping one size up, one size down, and you have room for it, and that makes you happy,
right,
that's fine. But just think about it when you're looking at your closet. Do I really need that? I would suggest you keep only what makes you feel good now.
Right, that makes sense.
Because confidence really is in the best outfit. If I put on a shirt that's too big, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
How about this
All right,
one?
let me take this one.
Why?
Wedding dress as a keepsake lie, right? And the reason I wanted to take it, the woman who cuts my hair, Mercy, was telling me the other day that her daughter-in-law and son just got married at a beautiful wedding in South Miami, and it was grand, and the bride was gorgeous, and her dress was stunning, super expensive, as wedding dresses can be. The very next day, she had the dress cleaned, packaged up, and she sold it.
Really?
Yep. And I said to Mercy, and Mercy's like, what do you mean? It's great, because when is she ever going to revisit that dress? When is she ever going to look at it, give it to her daughter, 30 years from now? Sometimes it just doesn't work for that person. Yeah. You have to look at sentiment versus space. A wedding dress takes up a lot of space.
Well, and it's kept out of tradition rather than practicality or necessity. You're never going to wear it again, I wouldn't think.
Well, a lot of daughters will say, I'd like to wear your dress. But I'm telling you, as a mom with 3 daughters, if you don't get the dress cleaned appropriately right away and stored properly, it's going to come back not looking crisp anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, if it's hard to let go, then maybe find a creative way to keep part of it.
Yeah.
Right? The top half.
Well,
what would you do with
Kellyanne.
that? Make a vest out of it.
No, Kelly.
Take the top half, cut it.
We had a friend, Kellyanne, whose daughter was getting married, wanted her own wedding dress, but asked her mom to take part of her dress and make her veil. And that was a really sweet idea. So Kellyanne was able to do that.
What about this idea, this lie about holding on to something because there's a future need for it?
That's an easy lie for me. I mean, I can convince myself of that on absolutely anything.
Well, you need it just in case.
Right.
Right? I mean, again, to your issue of the box, how many times have you discarded something and it's really been missed? And that's the thing. If you think about it, and if you really need it, I have those turkey things.
The forks?
Yeah, the giant turkey forks.
Yeah.
I don't even use them anymore. I use a regular fork and a pair of tongs to get the turkey out of the pot. But I had these things that use once a year to get a turkey out of a pan. And I remember I couldn't find them once, and I honestly don't even know where they are. But I think that's it's kind of crazy to do that. You can also borrow from a friend, or there's things you can rent.
Right. That's true.
Power washer. How many times do you use a power washer?
Me?
Yeah,
never.
But owning your own power washer, we use it twice a year. Just rent one at the local hardware store.
That's true.
So, give yourself permission to live in the present with the stuff that you really need and use.
Instead of that future use. Yeah,
right.
That's true. The next lie we tell ourselves is the cost justification lie. Keeping items just because they were expensive. The value of the item does decrease over time not the cost. I mean, think about that. The value decreases, but the cost was the cost.
Right.
So you have that idea that you need to move past. An expensive unused item is still unused. It
Right.
doesn't matter if it's expensive or not. And I can't think of anything that we have that's like, well, I can actually. You have...
now it's back to me. What?
You have snowshoes that were top of the line, snowshoeing rackets and shoes. You also have
Let's just slow
mountain
down.
climbing, clamp-ons, and
all of that has been gifted away. The snowshoes, the
I'm
poles,
not sure about that.
the mountain climbing stuff that I used 10 times maybe. I had this thing.
But you have this thing about buying the best of the best when you do something one time.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be one time.
You
But
thought you were going to be a snowshoer?
All right, so we're going to move on to the next one before we end up in a problem here. But you want to consider the item's current role in your life,
Right.
not what it cost in the
Right.
past. So
That's true.
snowshoes were expensive, so I keep them? No. I don't use them,
No.
so I need to donate them or sell them. All right.
The next one is the importance overestimation, right? Believing everything you own is critical, like you must have it.
That's a good lie.
It is a good lie because you're overvaluing items that can just lead to more clutter and a constrained environment. Really distinguish between what you need versus what you want.
I was going to say
Yeah.
that. Need versus want.
Yep.
And the frequency you use it. If you use it once a year, I don't know. Do you really need it? I mean, potato peelers. We have 2 of them because we use them all the time.
Oh,
and sometimes
carrots,
we
potatoes.
both will do it. But
Yeah.
there's other, we just decluttered our kitchen not so long ago, so we got rid of a lot of stuff. But
Right.
there's things in your kitchen drawer that you just haven't used in years. Donate it so someone else can use it.
Oh, you know what I think of when I think of this is I have a lot of placemats. I have a
Yeah.
lot of tablecloths, a lot of table runners.
But we use all those.
No, we don't use all of them.
Well, if we don't, then you should get rid of them.
Yeah, like I bought some really nice rattan ones that I love.
I don't like them.
You don't like them, so we don't use them.
We should get rid of them.
We should get rid of them
Those we
because
should
they're
get rid of.
really nice and they're round and
They're too thick and high. The plate wobbles.
My plate doesn't wobble, but
Okay.
anyway.
All right. So you want to regularly question the importance of the stuff that you own to keep your environment aligned with your current needs. I mean, do we really need 6 sets of...
Placemats?
Yeah, we just use paper towels.
Never.
Okay. Memory hoarding, another lie. And, this is that, I wouldn't say it was your painting, but stuff my parents, that I took from my parents when they passed, I'm holding on to it because of the memories, not because I really use it. And that's where you get into trouble. And it is, I would say it's the hardest thing, one of the hardest things for me to unload and to get rid of things that I have an emotional tie to.
Right.
I did keep that pig cutting board, and I looked at it one day and I said, this is made out of wood, it's got a crack in it, there's all sorts of stuff down in there.
Yikes.
Out. Got rid of it. And it's, you could take a picture of it and keep it.
Right.
I think your best memories really are in your mind.
Right.
And to try to get better at that, write down a story about the pig cutting board. I don't know.
Well, I think
Right.
you have to remember letting go of the item is not forgetting the experience
Right.
that you had with your mom and her pigs and how important that really was to her.
Oh, my dad's carving knives. He had all of these, he had two carving knives that had like antlers as handles.
Oh, I never saw
Deer
those.
antlers.
I don't think I ever saw those.
I donated them from the beginning, but as a little kid and growing up, he always took this knife out to cut steak and chicken and everything else. And then when I was cleaning their drawer out, I went, that thing is gross. And I have memories of him carving the turkey. That's enough.
That's enough for you.
All right.
All right, the next lie is one I think we all do, and that's just plain old procrastination. The whole I'll get to it eventually. Procrastination can lead to a buildup of clutter and stress. If you break your tasks into smaller steps, like we've talked about, start with a drawer or a room, set some deadlines, talk to somebody and tell them, next time you see this room or closet, it's going to be different. A little accountability partner. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think when you, again, at the end, we're going to share with you the 5 steps that we use to declutter. A 5-minute rule. So start working on a drawer or something for 5, say I'm going to do it for 5 minutes. Most
That's not
times you'll
very
keep
long.
going. Well, most, to get started, you're
Oh.
procrastinating.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, I'll get to it eventually, whatever. I'm going to spend 5 minutes on this drawer. And then 20 minutes later, it's finished.
Right.
So just as, an idea to start the process.
Gotcha.
Then there's the whole lie that we tell ourselves about not giving something away or selling it because it was a gift.
Right.
So we have gift guilt. And
Gift guilt, as if we don't have enough guilt in the world.
Well, we tell our kids, what do you want for your birthday? What do you need for Christmas? It's Father's Day. What do you want? I don't need anything. So when they get me something anyway, I'm getting better at saying I need socks. And I think back on my dad, he always needed socks.
Oh, Evan got you that wallet that you love.
And I didn't ask for it, but actually it's a keeper.
It is a keeper.
Yeah. But I think that there are gifts that we've received from friends and our children that we don't use.
Yeah.
And we struggle with how to get rid of it. And I guess you could wrap it up and re-gift it and give it back to them.
Well, not to them.
I'm kidding.
But, there is, I've re-gifted some things that people had given me over the years, whether they were, a work thing and you get a coffee mug or, trying to think of
This isn't an easy one.
It isn't, because gifts are, they kind of come from the heart. And if someone actually invested money in it and gave it to you and it was meaningful to them to give.
And if they come to the house on a regular basis and the gift isn't there.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Not all of these are going to work all the time, but you can't keep every single gift that you get.
Right.
You can't. There just isn't enough space in your house. So.
You actually return gifts before you even open them sometimes.
What is that?
You're just hard to buy for. So
then don't buy
it's
for
good.
me.
It's good that you don't need
anything. I want
anything.
memories. I don't need gifts. I want memories.
Memories. Got it.
All right.
Awesome. The next one is the myth of decluttering extremes. It's not about going from like clutter to minimalism or minimalism to hoarding, right? It's about finding a personal balance, and it's not an all or nothing choice. You have to find a middle ground and aim for a comfortable level of belongings and space, a really good balance that works for you.
I'm still stuck in my head about these boxes in the garage because that would help with this idea of decluttering extremes, because to have to make that decision on all these items right now that we want to donate and get rid of them, it's stressful, right? So a balance, I think, is keep the stuff you really definitely need, stuff that you're okay getting rid of, get rid of, and the stuff in the middle, put it in that box in the garage. And it's, again, do I need it? Do I want it? There's a huge difference between those two. So that's important. Here's another lie, that if you get rid of all this stuff, that you're going to feel lost, like your house is empty. The space that you create for new experience and joys, it's not emptiness, it's happiness. You want to embrace the potential of walking into the room and not seeing all this clutter.
Right.
And when you try it, even if you take all the stuff that's out, put it in a box and put it in the garage for a minute, and then you walk back in your room, it feels so much better. Get used to that feeling, because that's not, when you start decluttering, there's this fear that the home will feel empty. It doesn't. It feels full of space that you can sit and be happy in. And I think you have to give yourself time to transition too.
Well, what if your spouse or partner or the person you're living with doesn't have the same decluttering goals?
You move out. I don't know.
You have to have a lot of communication over things, because I know we've been joking about like items, your mom's pigs or, whatever. But we both also have items that we protect and defend.
So you could, right? So thinking on the fly, if you look at, we've taken a lot of the pictures that we used to have around our house. Sometimes they get really old. The pictures of my parents, the church picture they took back in 1982.
72?
Yeah, it's like, that's not really what they look like. You've got that, what's the photo thing? The on the counter that you keep loading up photos.
Oh, I have the Aura. It's the frame that you can download pictures to.
So we got rid of all of our frame pictures all around the house because there were a lot. And now we maybe have
we didn't get
4.
Rid of all of them.
Well, we got rid of 30 of them, but we have 4 really important pictures of us, the whole family, and we keep them out and we update them. But then all the other pictures are in that
rotating
thing,
frame,
because there's more space.
Yeah.
And trying to clean the house with all these picture frames too is a little. That's just one example of of that. So,
all right.
And you want to fill your space with the things that matter the most.
Absolutely. So the next one is, this lie that you're just going to be overwhelmed by the choices involved in decluttering, and you're just going to go into what's called decision paralysis. You're just going to stop and be paralyzed by having to make all these decisions. Too many choices can freeze us into inaction. So just think of it this way: one item at a time, simple criteria, start with your easiest items, accept some imperfection and some indecision. We talked about the indecision box even.
That's Jody's box method, which we're going to brand and sell
boxes.
We're going to sell,
boxes.
Pre-used, we're going to sell lightly used boxes for decluttering and put our Retirement Transform logo on it.
No, but I think this one is a big one. I know it's like somewhere in the middle of our stack here, but I think a lot of times people fear making all those decisions.
Yeah.
So, cut yourself a break, keep it simple, and just get started.
But do something with it.
Yeah.
Put it back in the drawer, put it in the box in the garage, or donate it.
Right.
Okay. The other reason that we keep things is that we think we're going to hold on to it and resell it. But we never do it. So that $10 painting of yours is still in the other room. And I know you want to sell it, and it's hidden behind the dresser.
I don't want to sell it.
You don't want to give it away either. No. If you've got stuff you want to sell, then sell it. Do a tag sale. Do a tag sale with a neighbor.
Or with the church or your religious
we don't
institution.
do this. We don't like to do this. Facebook has...
Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist.
Yeah, or eBay, or
eBay.
You can do. Listen, you can do that for some
a lot
extra
of people
money.
Do that.
Listen, if you're retired and you're not really sure what you want to do for work, you could become the neighborhood reseller on eBay. Take people's stuff, start a little business, sell it, and give them 10% of whatever you sell.
Yeah.
How about that for an idea on the fly?
Yeah, sometimes it's okay just to let some items go and setting a deadline for selling items. Like if I haven't sold this item by X date, I am going to donate it.
Okay.
I'll tell you who's good at selling stuff is, the kids, the millennial generation.
Maddie.
There are all these pop-ups like in New York City and Austin, Texas, or two that I know of for sure in Philadelphia, where the girls will actually take their clothes and bring it down and sell it. Like Maddie.
Well, because they can't
eat because they don't make enough money. But
well, there's that, but there's also their closets in New York City are this big,
right?
And they have clothes that are this big.
Right.
So in order to buy the newest, latest stuff,
they have to downsize.
They take this much down the street and they sell it, and then they replace it with half of that. So it's a nice little thing that they do. They're good at it.
And there are pop-ups. You just have to look in your town, city,
Yeah.
village, whatever you have.
All right.
The next one is this idea of, or this lie of assigning emotional value to replaceable items. This sentimental cluttering lie that we tell ourselves. Sometimes it's easiest to just go through and do some emotional sorting, separating, genuine treasures from mere objects and kind of making those decisions before you even give it away. Sometimes it's great to have an item, share your memory, and pass on the sentimental memory and see if a family or friend wants the item. If they don't, the item goes away. The other thing that we find that people do is choose a few items that represent the whole, like the keepsake of that memory, of that summer, of that beach house, of that wedding, whatever it is. And then the last thing I would say in this sentimental decluttering, don't forget there is digital preservation. Photograph or digitize or save, the item that way, and that actually helps you with space.
The other thing you can do is create a memory box. I mean, if you've got, like my dad, I have a lot of his stuff. I've got a pocket knife, pins, tie clips with his initials on it. I just gave my oldest son, Markham,
the ring.
No, I did do that, but a pocket
ring.
Watch that my great-grandfather had and has MFR on it. My initials and his initials. It doesn't work, but he loved it. He said, "Oh, this is so cool." And he has a box now of that stuff, but it only has value to him.
Right.
Or to me. It doesn't have value to anyone else.
Right.
If that's in an antique store, someone might buy it, but there's no sentimental value. They're collecting it because they like the watch.
And I really think you have to go through what is truly sentimental value
Right.
versus what you think you're lying to yourself and assigning sentimental value.
What about this lie that you tell yourself that you have all of this equipment that you're going to use? Well, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, but we
For
know
a hobby.
For a hobby.
For a hobby.
That you did one time.
That you didn't even do one time. You have, and I'm going to pick on you, in Connecticut, you've got the painting, the suitcase, painting easel, the brushes, the thing you put your thumb in and you mix all the paint. You have an aspiration to be a painter, which I'm all for. But when we get back to Connecticut in a month,
I'm
we're
going to
donate
start
it.
painting.
No, you're not. We're getting rid of it. So we hold on to stuff thinking we're going to do it. Snowshoeing, rock climbing, painting. We're all guilty of it.
3 sets of old golf clubs.
No, I don't have that anymore.
We have Christopher's.
No, we don't.
Yep, we do.
Donated them all. They're gone. The only clubs we have in the garage are Jimmy's.
Well, I'm talking about the Connecticut. We have Christopher's.
No.
Oh, we do.
Okay.
Christopher, if you want them back, we have them.
Give yourself...
Johnny's drums.
I don't have Johnny's drums. Give yourself permission to let go of these hobby aspirations that really no longer fit your interests and get rid of the stuff. There's someone out there that wants to be a painter.
Yeah.
And they would love your stuff.
I know.
Okay.
But I want to be a painter. I just don't have time. I'm so busy.
Let's keep it. We'll do painting. You know what? We'll do a video in August.
Of me painting?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Coming soon.
The next one, I am definitely guilty of this, of lying to myself and keeping items that I only use one time a year. Items used infrequently take up valuable space year-round. And don't forget, there are rental options. There are a lot of shared community resources that you could borrow from friends or community centers. Special occasion decluttering is really important, and I think we did a good job of that at one point with our, for example, Christmas tree ornaments. We used to, in our old house, when we had all the kids and everything, we would have 2 big Christmas trees and a little Christmas tree in the entryway. So 3 Christmas trees, so we had enough ornaments for all of that. Mm-hmm. And it was a once in a year, but we had bins and bins and bins of ornaments. So, that's an example for us that we did say, all right, moving forward, it's just the 2 of us and the kids when they come. We'll probably only have 1 Christmas tree. Let's just get our most favorite Christmas items.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to our meals. When we have all 6 kids here for a holiday, like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that, we need a lot of plates. We need serving dishes. We need spoons.
Wine glasses.
We rent it now.
Yeah.
We go to the rental place, and it's really not that expensive. I think it's a lot cheaper than owning it and trying to store it. So we'll get, 22 plates, 22 wine glasses, and then you don't even have to clean them, and you give them back in. It costs a couple $100, but then it's done.
Yeah.
Versus trying to find space for 22 of the old Christmas plates.
Well, and I would tell you, I think the rental agencies have upped their game. I mean, they do some beautiful plates and tablescapes and stuff. So it's important to kind of reassess this annually, decide if a once-a-year use for whatever it is justifies the storage.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, in Connecticut, I have summer plates that are yellow. I have fall plates that are like a burnt orange. Mm-hmm. I have winter plates that have a Christmas kind of scape to it. And then back to the summer plates again. So, I mean, do I really need those burnt orange plates for the fall? No. I mean, they look nice at a dinner party, but I mean, I think I have a set of 12.
I think you go with a set of white plates, you can use them all year.
Boring.
You get colored napkins, colored paper napkins.
Paper napkins.
Paper.
Oh, I'm starting to sweat now.
All right. We talked about procrastination, but here's another lie that we hold on to. It's like that, but it's different. It's just this idea that you get overwhelmed with the idea of starting. You're saying, I just can't go in the garage to work on this project today. It's just not going to work for me mentally. So what you need to do is just, like I said, go in and agree you're going to do 1 shelf or 3 feet or 1 drawer or 1 part of the closet, and just do it simple. Just begin with a little small area, put together a step-by-step plan. We're going to share that with you at the end, that what we use, it works really well. And also maybe choose a spot where the results are noticeable.
Yeah.
My bedside, what the hell is it called? Table. I tend to let, during the week it fills up. Mm-hmm. And on Fridays or Mondays, I always clean it. Because it just feels good to get into the bed at night and there's not a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, under the category of, decluttering is going to overwhelm me. I also think if you just flip the narrative and the perspective and remember how great you feel when you open that bathroom drawer or you open a cabinet or you open your closet and you see, the hangers are all if you can kind of put your mind and flip the narrative to not I'm overwhelmed, but I know how great I'm going to feel.
Right.
Like maybe that would be helpful as well.
I think that when you do one drawer and how good you feel,
Right.
I think a smart thing to do is not wait another 6 months to try decluttering again,
Right.
but live off that energy and do another drawer tomorrow. And then the next day, and then go underneath the cabinet. So you could do 25 minutes a day for a week, and all of a sudden now the place is looking great. And
Yeah.
you've got all these things you can donate. So you go to the donation center with a carload of stuff. That, those people at the one here on Marco, what is it called? The church that has the store. I mean, you pull up in the back and you give all clothes and
Everything.
everything, and it goes in the back. They price it, and it goes out the front from people who, maybe don't have enough money to buy it new, but they
Right.
really need it.
Right.
So living in that happiness, I think, is important.
All right, the next lie that we tell ourselves is worrying that we're going to miss something we've discarded. It's kind of that post-decluttering fear or regret that we know that we fear is going to happen. I think you need to believe you'll have everything you need when you need it. Most things can be replaced within 20 minutes for under $20. Like if you think about it, if you really wanted those forks again, if you got rid of them, you could get them at the local hardware store, probably for under $20.
Well, one thing I would say is, I don't think this is a lie, but the other thing you need to do is you need to have better control over your buying, right? I mean, I don't know if we talk about that today, but because if I get rid of those forks, and then, like you said, 20-20 rule, if it can be replaced in 20 minutes for under $20, run to the hardware store and get them again.
Now you're
then I got them
cluttering.
again.
Yeah,
So,
right.
anyway.
That's true. Remind yourself that regret after decluttering is very rare. Concentrate on what you gain in space and freedom, not on what you may potentially feel in loss.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
That goes along with your box idea.
Okay.
Put all the stuff in a box and put everything that's in that box in a journal. And when you get rid of that, and date it, and when you get rid of that box and it's gone, you have a journal you can always go back to and say, what was it I gave away? And you go and look, and you know what? Typically the regret, the fear of regret is really greater than the reality of it. You're like, I didn't really need that.
Right.
Maybe that's a silly idea, but I just thought of it.
That's a good one.
Anyway, then there's this lie you tell yourself that decluttering one thing's not going to make a difference. Underestimating the impact of a small decluttering project can stop you from doing it. That's BS. It's not true. You declutter one drawer, one area, one area in your living room where you've got a cabinet with a lamp and 2 picture frames and coasters and all that. Declutter that.
Right.
It does make a difference. And you can look at the other one and say, that's a mess. I mean, look at that.
Gosh, so far you've looked at our closet
And over there.
and over
Wish
at our
I could
chest.
move this camera. But I think that...
By the way, it's all your the
No.
wrapping paper's mine.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the other stuff. And there's a dresser in there with drawers that are full of stuff. But it's not...
Let's not digress.
We
on
should
our
get
clutter.
some B-roll of... We'll do that. We'll
Of
take
our
some-
clutter?
Yeah. Our video team would love that.
Yeah.
So it's a lie that decluttering one thing won't make a difference. It does make a difference. And you really want to challenge yourself to do one area a day, like I said
Right.
before. I think do that every day for a month, 15 minutes. You're gonna be amazed at the difference it makes.
One of the next lies that we always tell ourselves, and I've heard actually neighbors when we've talked about different things happening in their garage or space that they're trying to change around, is I'm not going to know what to do with the stuff, so I don't want to box it up because I don't know where to send it. Uncertainty about disposal options can really stall your decluttering efforts.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So you don't declutter. You don't go through the process because you're thinking, well, if I get a pile of stuff,
Where do I take it?
what do I do with it?
Right.
So that's a lie we tell ourselves to not even start.
Well, because you can research local charities, look for recycling options, look for different selling platforms that you can utilize online, and then also look at some community sharing opportunities, local community groups that might need exactly what you have. It's not that hard to find people that need some of the good quality items that you're decluttering from your life.
I still think that there's a need for people who are retired to start a little business where they sell your stuff for you. And you get a little commission.
That might exist.
It might, but I don't want to sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
But if there's a person in the neighborhood that says, "Hey, here's my card. I started a business. If you give me a pile of stuff, I'll sell it for you, and I'll give you 10%." Be kind of fun. You're helping them.
Well, I will
You're
say,
getting your goods out there
in Florida,
and you're making a few bucks.
In Florida, there are a lot of, I forget what they call them, not secondhand stores, but what do they call?
A consignment?
Consignment shop. There's a lot of that in Florida. And a lot of them are tied to a charity, which I personally really like. A lot of them are tied to a small business, which I also personally really like. So, I mean, I think you can find that, especially for bigger items like furniture and kitchen.
So then, if I was doing this business, I would say to the person, I'm going to sell your stuff.
Right.
And you tell me what charity you want me to donate 20% of what I sell it for to that charity.
You can't do,
because I don't really want
you
the
can't
money.
do more than 20?
Well, you can. You could do 100. But I mean, the person that's doing it has some cost involved in
Right.
shipping and all that. So I don't know. I just have in my mind now that's kind of a neat thing to do.
Okay.
Another lie we tell ourselves, and why we don't declutter, why we don't start, why we don't even think about it, is no one's going to want the stuff I want to get rid of. And that's probably the biggest lie, that there's someone out there that wants that painting.
He's picking on my painting today.
I love that painting. I want the painting to
I'm
go.
going to take a picture of my painting
You'd be,
and send it at
you
the
might
bottom.
be surprised.
You guys can vote.
You might be surprised at how useful this stuff is to the rest of the world. Again, you just have to walk into the front end of the local church thrift store and see all the stuff that's in there. And imagine your stuff in there. People are coming in there and they're buying it. They're paying money for it because it's important to them. And then that money goes towards the church's or temple's local mission to do a food bank or something like that. So if you poke your nose into some of these stores, Salvation Army, I don't know, I think we've
Goodwill.
mentioned Salvation Army and Goodwill before, and someone mentioned they lost their nonprofit status. So you really want to pick a charity that is nonprofit. You want to do that research. People want your stuff.
So the next one, and we're getting kind of close to the end here, so stick with us. The next one is the intention that you can repair or repurpose an item. So the idea of decluttering it goes out because you're like, oh, I'll fix that.
That's me.
Yeah, that is you.
I have a shelf of stuff in the garage. It needs to be fixed. And you know what? Some of it I've had for years.
Still needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fix it.
Well, just do a realistic assessment, set some time limits. Consider if you have the skills to actually fix the item or not. And then also remind yourself the cost of repairs. Sometimes repairs can cost more than just replacing an item. So this is a big lie I think a lot of us tell, and you definitely tell yourself that lie.
Yeah. Now here's a lie that my parents told themselves, because I remember them saying it. I used to say to them, Mom, Dad, you're getting older. You really need to start decluttering. And they would both say, it's too late for that. I say, well, it's not too late. You can do it. I don't have the energy. I don't want to do it. Don't worry about it. You guys will know what to do with it. And then we ended up with that huge burden. It's never too late to start decluttering. It isn't. I mean, age is just a number. It can be beneficial at any age. And you just make incremental progress. Our goal is when we're gone, the kids really don't have to do anything. We keep trying to downsize our stuff and things so that they don't have that burden.
We still have a ways to go.
Well, we
Realistically,
do.
we still have a ways to go. I mean, we have bins of stuff that we chat to the kids about that's actually their stuff.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I'm so glad you have it. Don't give it away, but keep it for me. And I'm like, well, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
A big myth that we tell ourselves, and again, we're getting here to the end, is, it's just too much work to declutter. The thought that decluttering can seem overwhelming, but breaking it down makes it manageable. Again, set a schedule, do some time management, do some task division, break down the processes into big or small buckets, and celebrate your progress along the way.
Use a timer.
Yeah.
Say, you know what? You and I are going to go in the garage. And
Why do I have to?
We're going to
I
go
don't
into the
own
bucket.
anything in the garage.
Yeah, you do. We're going to go through that bucket.
Yoga mats. That's the only thing I have in the garage.
We'll do the yoga mats after this. But set a timer. We're going to do it for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And if we go for 10, then we give ourselves a reward.
Okay.
All right. Another lie and myth we tell ourselves is that decluttering is expensive. Now, I don't know where this comes from, but research, that's what a lot of people say, that it's expensive, because decluttering should really reduce your costs by giving you more storage and less maintenance on the things that are broken. So really thinking about selling items could generate some income.
Well, I think where it gets expensive, and you've experienced this, is when you buy storage solutions for everything. So instead of getting rid of things, you buy nicer bins or better storage or better, seals around the edges. Oh, I'll keep that.
So you can see the stuff in the bin.
Right. But it's still there.
But you still don't use it. You still don't use it.
Right.
And it's expensive to buy the bin to put the stuff in.
So don't make it expensive. I think in your head,
just get rid of the stuff.
This is not going to be an expensive endeavor. And when you donate things, if you just put them in garbage bags, people will take them in garbage bags, especially if you know what's in there.
Decluttering is about letting go, not acquiring new things to organize your clutter. That is a bad fallacy.
So we've been talking about decluttering, and this next myth is, one that says, decluttering is physical items only. And we've really been talking only about physical items. But don't forget, decluttering can also apply to digital and emotional and mental clutter. Digital clutter, organizing and purging digital files, emails, social media, that's a big thing. And even your apps. I mean, I said to you the other day, I have an app, a parking app, from a place we lived like 2 houses ago. And I got to declutter my apps because it kind of stresses me out that I still have it. I think I pay $2.50 a year, but why do I have it?
I've been a little wigged out and stressed out in the last month or two because we've been running pretty hard and a little busy, that I've got a lot of emails in my inbox that I've looked at multiple times. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take all the emails in my inbox right now, and I'm going to put them in a folder called April 2024 emails. And then my inbox will be empty.
And then you'll go in and declutter that?
I'll go in and declutter that, but the fact that my inbox now is empty, I can keep up with new stuff, and I can go back in and mess around with that when I have time. I'm not throwing them out. They're in that box, like you said, in the garage. And you know what? If it's really, really important, that person's going to follow up again.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm doing that.
Guess.
Are you?
I don't
You have a lot in your inbox.
I'll tell you what, you have a lot in your inbox and you can never find anything. I have a lot in my inbox, but if you need something, I can always find the email. Why is that?
That's got nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
No, listen, this idea of holding on to stuff mentally, clutter in your head, even regrets on other people,
hurts,
grudges, tough relationships, decluttering that stuff in your head. As a matter of fact, we should do a whole video on this because it really is important. We talked a lot, like I said, about stuff and things, but digital, emotional, and mental clutter can really, really hurt you physically. So
and I would challenge you guys, take a minute just to think about how decluttering extends beyond the physical item and pull it into every aspect of your life for a comprehensive approach to simplicity.
Well, another lie we tell ourselves, and we probably do this, someone else is holding me back. So I would love to get rid of all your old vases, but I know you use them and you like them, and they do multiply over time. I don't know what happens, but you find new places to store them. But I don't want to get rid of them without your permission.
Well, it's definitely something we would have to discuss and collaborate openly on, but we should also respect boundaries. So, for example, we have 11 boxes of blurry photographs from your mother. She never took a clear photograph.
So who's holding
them? We have 11 boxes, moving boxes of them.
So
I don't even know the people in there. So for
who's holding me back on that? We're talking about this
I think
lie.
You are holding me back.
No, you're just using this as an opportunity to bring something up so that everyone can leave a comment. Hey, Mark, get rid of your mom's pictures because they're all blurry anyway.
Don't get rid of them all. But I think shared decision making, I guess, is what I'm saying. If one of us is pushing to get rid of something that is the other person's possession, it has to have a lot of good conversation.
And there are outside professional organizers.
Yeah, that's
there
true.
are people that will come in and help you with your closet. If you're really stuck in this mode of one size up, one size down, that favorite outfit, those favorite shoes, you can get a professional that really, it's probably expensive. I don't know what it would cost.
I don't have any idea, but I'm sure you can find them.
But again, if you need help decluttering, get the help.
Right. Here's a myth, and I know I've talked to my girls about this when I've gone into their rooms, when they lived at home. One of them would say to me, every time I declutter my room becomes messier. So I'm just not going to do it, because you do have to sometimes make a mess to sort things through, to put things back in their place.
Right.
So sometimes things do get messier before they get better, but that shouldn't be a reason to stop you from doing it.
And you want to, again, I mentioned this earlier, is really be mindful about buying new stuff and bringing new stuff into your house. You really need to get better at that. An idea would be is, one thing comes in, one thing has to go out.
Right.
You buy 3 new dresses, you need to get rid of 3. So the 3 packages that showed up just this morning, you now have an opportunity to get 3 dresses and put them in the garage in that box, and I'll take them to the donation place.
Okay.
We doing that?
Sure. I can do that.
For real?
Sure.
All right, you heard it.
You heard it here.
The lesson we want to talk about, and then we want to share with you our 5 steps that we use to declutter, because it does really work for us, is this lie that if I start to declutter, then I need to live this lifestyle of a minimalist. And you don't. It doesn't mean that you have to have bare minimum. You can still keep stuff. You can still buy new things, but you just want to be careful about it. It's a personal journey, and this isn't a one-size-fits-all. But you want to focus on the joy and utility of downsizing and decluttering, because it does give you that open space, that open mindset to be comfortable. And you want to avoid extremes.
Right.
You don't want to think, oh my gosh, now I need to be a minimalist. Everything in that closet goes, and we start fresh. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So there's a balance.
Absolutely. There's definitely a balance to get through.
So use this decluttering as a tool to make your life better, not to put severe restrictions on what you do. And aim for a space that feels right for you and in this case, your partner.
So let's go through our 5-step process, and it'll be quick hits, things that we've talked about kind of along the way, but just a short list for you to write down. The first one I think is important: to schedule a time to start and to finish, to get the process moving.
Yeah, and we're going to do this again, as I'm thinking, on the vases. That's our first project.
Okay.
We're going to schedule time. It's going to take us 5 minutes.
Okay.
Unless I can't find them all.
Well, I can always take them back to the local florist too. So
yeah, and I've done that.
Yeah.
But we so anyway, that's a 5-minute project.
Right. Schedule a time, start and finish, number 1.
Pick a section of your home. That would be wherever all the vases are in this case. So the bottom cabinets in the kitchen is where they all kind of hide.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do. And you pick, the third step is 1 item at a time. Now, some vases you use on a regular basis.
I do.
So we keep those. And you actually have some nice ones.
I do.
Right? So we'll keep those. But the ones that come from the florist, they all certainly can go back. So when you pick the item up and you're doing this process, step 3 is to decide, do you keep it? Do you donate it? Do you sell it? Or does it go in the garbage?
Right.
Because some stuff that's broken can go in the garbage.
And the 4th thing is, don't let go of an item until you decide to let go of the item. In other words, don't be in such a frenzy to, like, for example, purses or pocketbooks that I have. I've done that before where I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And then I go to a wedding and I say, where's that little pearl bag? And I'm like, oh crap, I got rid of it. So don't let go of an item until you decide to let go of the item.
And I think that's actually a good point for the guys, the men that are watching this. I have 1 wallet. 1. And I keep it in my back pocket. No one sees it. Women are different. The purse is part of their outfit. So we have to be what's so funny?
It is, it's true.
I'm saying we have to be okay with our wives or partners having, 20 pairs of shoes and 20 purses, because it's part of their outfit.
Well, I don't have 20.
I know you're like 35, but I didn't want to embarrass you in front of everybody. The 5th thing is you got to be hard with yourself. You don't want to deviate. When you pick that thing up or you open that drawer, stick with it. When it's done and the timer's up, project is finished, celebrate. I feel so good when I clean that freaking drawer in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to feel good when the vases go in a box back to the florist.
Remember, the lies we tell ourselves about decluttering are the only thing standing between us and the home and the life and the dream we want in retirement. It's never too late to start, and it's always worth the effort.
Now, I hope you like this video. This next one how to declutter your home. It's one of our most popular videos, and we talk about the process, how to make it fun, setting a time frame, and really going through the whole step of decluttering your home room by room.